Welcome back, Focus Learners. Today, on our Explainer, we're tackling the heaviest, most intimidating parts of Chapter 475 of the Florida Statutes. Our goal? To guarantee you secure a passing score on that FREC I state exam. If you're aiming to get your real estate license in the Sunshine State, well, you know exactly what Chapter 475 is. It is the absolute bedrock of real estate regulation. And honestly, mastering it is your golden ticket. Let's get right into it.
It's a frustrating sight, isn't it? A failed FREC I score report. Ouch. But listen, if you've seen one of these, I want to validate exactly what you're feeling right now. You are absolutely not alone. This state exam is notoriously difficult, and a ton of candidates struggle specifically with these really dense statutory topics. We're talking brokers' relationships, escrow management, real estate contracts. It requires a deep, hyper-specific understanding of the law, not just general real estate knowledge.
Okay, let's dive into this, because today, we're going to turn that fail into a pass. We're doing a fast-paced, high-energy breakdown, focusing strictly on the high-yield statutory topics that trip people up the absolute most. We're going to take the complexities of Chapter 475 and chop them into bite-sized, totally understandable visual pieces. That way, you can walk into your next exam with absolute confidence. Section 1. Authorized brokerage relationships. All right, here is the absolute core of the issue, the stark legal contrast between a transaction broker and a single agent. You absolutely need to memorize this. So a transaction broker, they provide a limited form of representation. They actually don't have a fiduciary duty, and because of that, they can assist both the buyer and the seller in the exact same transaction. But on the flip side, a single agent acts as a true fiduciary. They have undivided loyalty, and they form a strict principal-agent relationship with either the buyer or the seller, never both in the same transaction. No way. Let's look at the specific 9 duties required of a single agent under Florida law. Now, while both roles require things like dealing honestly and accounting for funds, the single agent takes on 4 unique, incredibly important duties. Are you ready? Loyalty, confidentiality, obedience, and full disclosure. These 4 specific duties are exactly what make this a true fiduciary role. If you see a test question asking who owes obedience or undivided loyalty, boom, you immediately know the answer is a single agent. And this brilliantly illustrates what that looks like out in the real world. This high level of representation requires the official single agent notice disclosure. Florida law mandates that real estate licensees operating as single agents must disclose their duties in writing to the principal before or at the exact time of entering into a listing agreement or showing a property. The language on this form is strictly regulated by Chapter 475. Why? To ensure the consumer knows exactly what high level of representation they're actually getting. To cement this in your mind, let's lock in the legal definition of a fiduciary. It's a relationship of trust and confidence between a broker as an agent and the seller or buyer as a principal. Under Chapter 475, this relationship holds the broker to the absolute highest standard of trust. You are legally bound to act in the best interests of your principal above all others. And yeah, that includes yourself. Section 2. Managing escrow deposits. Let's look at a classic real-world scenario that you'll almost certainly see on the exam. Picture this. Your buyer backs out of a contract. Both the buyer and the seller are furious, and both are demanding the earnest money deposit that's currently sitting in your broker's escrow account. So what do? Well, as a licensee, you can't just pick a side and hand over the money. Absolutely not. That is a direct violation of Florida law. So the crucial point is that a broker must use one of 4 legal escape procedures to resolve this escrow dispute without violating license law. First, you can request an escrow disbursement order, or EDO, directly from the commission. Second, you can submit the matter to arbitration, assuming you have the consent of all parties. Third, you can try mediation to get the parties to agree. Or finally, you can turn to litigation and just let the courts decide. You must know these 4 escape procedures by heart. And here is a rapid-fire critical testing number you need to memorize right this second. If there is an escrow dispute, meaning conflicting demands on those funds, the broker has exactly 15 business days to notify the Florida Real Estate Commission in writing. Notice I didn't say 15 calendar days. It's 15 business days. Burn that number into your memory for exam day. Section 3. Violations and the Recovery Fund. Let's test your knowledge with a little scenario to spike your attention. Let's say a broker's violation causes direct financial harm to a consumer, and that consumer actually wins a civil judgment. How much will the Real Estate Recovery Fund pay out for a single transaction? Any guesses? The answer is exactly $50,000. The fund is strictly capped at $50K per single transaction. Now, what if a rogue agent has multiple claims against them from totally different transactions? Well, the absolute maximum the fund will pay out on behalf of one licensee is $150,000. So remember those two caps: $50,000 per transaction, $150,000 per licensee. Let's move to and see how this builds on what we learned earlier. All of these stringent disclosure and representation rules we just talked about regarding single agents and transaction brokers, well, they don't apply to every single real estate deal. The statute specifically states they apply to residential sales. And how's that defined? Improved residential property of 4 units or fewer, or unimproved property intended for 4 units or fewer. So they do not apply to, say, a massive 50-unit commercial apartment complex. Section 4, Blueprint for Success. Remember, the Department of Business and Professional Regulation is your future licensing authority. They aren't trying to trick you with the state exam, even if it feels like it sometimes. They are trying to protect the public. Mastering these specific, dense nuances of Chapter 47 is exactly what the DBPR demands before they hand over a real estate license and trust you with consumers' massive financial transactions. So, with this high-yield review under your belt, are you ready to go back and conquer Chapter 475? Review these key differences, memorize your business days and dollar limits, and you are going to walk into that testing center equipped and ready to dominate the FREC exam. Keep studying, stay incredibly focused, and think about it. What step will you take today to guarantee that passing score tomorrow?